Is CNN a propaganda outlet? I will most definitely say yes. They have their point of view of the world. Oftentimes, that point of view dovetails with the prevailing narrative of government that it wants to put out. If it's the government disliking China, CNN will be right there to back that point up. If the government dislikes Russia, the CNN will be right there to pick that point up. It's corporate news. It's not necessarily news from the standpoint of the left or right. It's corporate news. What does the corporate world want the world to look like? Ask CNN. They'll tell you. I suppose it will probably look a lot like Joe Manchin. That's the guy who CNN loves. It'll probably look a lot like Joe Biden. That's the guy that CNN gave the most glowing coverage to, worth billions of dollars. So if you are telling me that CNN is a propaganda outlet, I'm not stunned by that. I'm not shocked by that. I look at that and say, yeah, they're a propaganda outlet for their particular view and version of the world. That's what they advocate for. Now, the way that you go about doing that is showing what the individual at CNN is saying at any particular point and showing the reality. What they're saying, the reality. What they're saying, the reality. And after a while, you can get across, okay, it seems that these stories that this particular person is putting out is diverging from reality. If you want to linger on Rachel Maddow and say that she seems to have a screw loose ever since Donald Trump got elected, you can pretty much show that based on the things that she was saying, the harebrained schemes, here are his tax papers, here's his tax papers. And you find out that those tax papers basically corroborate that Donald Trump paid taxes, regardless of how embarrassing the documents were. Or Trump is working with the Iranians to do something else. It was always one nefarious scheme after the next. And her being wrong the entire time didn't necessarily matter that much because she was wrong to people who accepted that particular view of the world, despite the fact that that view of the world was wrong. What you don't do is put a camera in a guy's face who's supposed to be, I guess, the technical director of CNN, and then edit the video in this kind of weird, choppy way and say that this guy says CNN does propaganda, when your video says nothing about the guy CNN doing propaganda. Meaning there's ways to go about showing it as opposed to this Project Veritas, once again, another BS video that these guys are putting out. I don't even typically cover Project Veritas videos, but there are some people out there who believes that these guys are putting out legitimate content. It is bullshit, I'm sorry. If they may get one right, fair enough, but the cacophony of nonsense, of just base ridiculousness that they've put out over the course of all of these years, my default is that they're putting out bullshit unless specified and dictated and proven otherwise. And having a heavily edited video does not make their point. I'm going to show you the video that these guys are putting out that they're trying to say proves CNN was going after Matt Gaetz using propaganda. And the guy who's sitting here basically saying this, that's supposed to be some kind of programming director. You're going to love this. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. Guys, if you dig this content, please like, share, and subscribe. You can always support this content through PayPal or Patreon. This content is brought to you by you, and I appreciate you allowing me to do it. Project Veritas. This is the video that they're putting out.
You guys stand on news propaganda?
Oh no,
Okay, can you define propaganda? Like, I think I know, but like, how is it? What's the mechanism?
If the agenda, say, is to like get like Matt Gaetz right now, he's like this Republican, like he's a problem for the Democratic Party because he's so conservative, right? And he can cause a lot of hiccups in passing of laws. So it would be great for the Democratic Party to get him out. So we're going to keep running those stories to keep.
Stop right here for a moment. Stop right here for a moment. All right. So few points. This is like a hall of mirrors. They're talking about propaganda while putting out poorly scripted propaganda. So Charlie Chester, CNN technical director. Okay, let's say that's true. So we're going to keep running those stories. Well, he's not talking necessarily about CNN. If you go back to the first part, okay, can you define propaganda for me? Well, but first, do CNN use propaganda? I don't know. I non-committal. Then it jumps. Okay, can you define propaganda for me? Like, I think I know, but what's the mechanism? This is not a question of describe the way CNN uses propaganda. That's not what he's answering. That's what they're making it look like he's answering. That's what they're trying to imply that he's answering. Just look at the video. That's not what he's answering. Let's keep going. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, it jumps here. So
CNN use propaganda?
Oh no,
Okay, can you define propaganda?
right there, they're two separate questions. Does CNN use propaganda? He's kind of weirdly committal, but he ends up with kind of a, yeah. Okay, can you define propaganda for me? That's a different question. That's a different question. You're trying too hard, dog. You're trying too hard. If the agenda is to say, like, Matt Gaetz right now, he's a Republican. Now, is he really talking about CNN? Or is he talking about this is what you do if you were trying to get Matt Gaetz? He's a problem for Democrats. And so this is how Democrats will go about getting Matt Gaetz. Or is he really saying, do we really believe that the CNN technical director is telling this random person, yes, when CNN is trying to get Matt Gaetz because he's a Republican and Democrats hate him, and so we, CNN, have to go and put, is that really what they honestly believe? That this what this guy is here saying? Or is this guy answering the question in the abstract? And because they've cut the video weirdly, it's given the impression of something that honestly it doesn't even really get a good impression of if you just listen to what the guy's saying. If the agenda is to say, like Matt Gaetz right now, he's a Republican, he's a problem for the Democratic Party because he's so conservative and he caused a lot of hiccups in passing a law or whatnot, right? So we're going to keep running those stories to keep hurting him to make it so it can't be buried. Is he talking about CNN here? That's the catch. I don't think he is.
Passing of laws. So it would be great for the Democratic Party to get him out. So we're going to keep running those stories to keep hurting him and make it so that it can't be buried and like just settled outside of court and just like if we keep pushing that, it's helping us. That's propaganda. It's helping us in some way.
And they keep sticking in the CNN part. Look, the only way I buy what they're selling is if they release the unedited video. Show the unedited video from the beginning to the end. And if it says what they're claiming, fair enough. But I'm sorry, Project Veritas is not in a position where they can put out an edited video and expect anybody with brain and eyes to look at that video that's been edited and come away with the conclusion that they're given, considering the previous videos have not done that, have not been honest, have not been straightforward, have basically lied for their various positions. So be brave, do something. Yes, be brave, do something, and release the full unedited video. That's right. Be brave and do something, Project Veritas, and release the unedited video. That's what I want to see. That's what the public should see, right? If there is no issue with that video, if it says exactly what you say it says, then release it. What does it hurt you to release the entire video? Show it all. like, share, subscribe.